Hi everyone, welcome back to Smarta.
With Marta.
We're back for another math lesson and we're going into subtraction again with a new strategy, but first we have some shout outs.
My first shout out is to Olivia. She has been reading a lot on Epic. She wrote me a letter last week and she told me about 4 of the books she read and told me her favorite parts of all of those books.
Fantastic.
And that was way more than I asked her to do. So
nice. I like
thank
hearing,
you for that, Olivia.
I always like hearing the summaries of what you've been reading. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
My shout out goes to Ren and her family. They went for a 6-kilometer hike up a mountain called Mount Work.
I bet it was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but Ren says the views were incredible. So it was well worth all the work going up Mount Work. So good job, Ren and family. Jokes today.
My first joke is from Isla. Are you ready?
I am.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Lettuce.
Lettuce who?
Let us in. It's raining outside.
You never know with Victoria. It's back and forth. It could be rainy, it could be sunny.
Thanks,
nice
Isla, for the joke.
My joke is from Catherine B. What did the slug say when he got an A on his paper?
Slug. I don't know.
I snailed it. I like that one, Catherine.
That's funny. I love to say, nailed it.
Yeah. Stay tuned for
Snailed it.
Snailed it. Stay tuned for our Rexy joke at the end of this lesson, but meet you at the easel next. Hi everyone, welcome back, and we are continuing with our lessons on subtraction. If you're in this video, you've already been through the videos on make 10 for addition. You've also been on the 10 frames one. That was the first in the subtraction series, so this should be the next in the series. So if you haven't watched the 10 frames lesson, please go back to that first, okay? So you can see by the title, subtraction is related to addition. And this is really good news because the way our brains work around math, our brains acquire addition skills much easier for a few different reasons. Most people are wired just to receive addition, adding something to it much easier than taking away from something. But the other reason is how our elementary school system works. We learn addition strategies first, so you've had a lot more practice with them, and then subtraction's introduced, so addition will always be slightly stronger than your subtraction when you start. But the good news is I'm going to show you today how you don't have to keep them really separate. Addition and subtraction are related. Let's go check it out. So we're on our basic facts, and you boys and girls are getting really good with your basic facts. We're getting your basic facts sheets in, plus and minus, sent in each week. Great job. So in this first green section here, it's addition. So let's go through it together. Boys and girls, the first question says 9 plus 8 is, I'm hoping a lot of you yelled out, 17. 6 plus 4 is, that's one of our 10s, so I know you're yelling at 10.
Remember, you're at home. You can yell out the answer.
As much as you want. You can interrupt. I guess you can pause me if you want to. And finally, in the basic facts, addition, 7 plus 5 is, I pause a little bit longer, it's a little bit tougher, 12. The way my brain did that. I don't know how yours did it, boys and girls, because you're not sitting in front of me, a live audience. But what I do is I take 3 from that 5 and make that 7 a 10. Because then I have 10 plus 2. Plus 2 is 12.
That's interesting, Mr. Marta, because I take the 7 and I take 2 away from it to make 5, and then I have 5 and 5 and 2.
See, different brains, different strategies. Not one's better than the other. Just learn all the strategies and figure out which one's best for you. Okay, now basic facts minus. Now at first they look a little bit harder, but I'm going to teach you a trick to make them pretty easy. So let's look at first 17 minus 9. Now there's a variety of ways you might do this. You might write it down and do partitioning. You might break it into 10 frame cards. You might draw 10 frame cards out. You might
use your fingers.
You might use your fingers. You might draw the dots out. You might use dice.
You might use a ruler.
They might use a ruler and do a number line counting backwards. There's so many ways to do it. So 17 minus 9. To look at it, what my brain does is I see right away that 17, if I break it into its parts, is 10 and 7. And I can take a 9 away from a 10 very easily. So 10 minus 9 is 1. So now I'm left with 1 and 7, and 1 and 7 is 8. So there's our answer for that one. 10 minus 6. I'm guessing.
Hold on. Are we going to talk about how they're related?
Oh, not yet. We will. We will. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are, yep. 10 minus 6. I'm guessing a lot of you because you've been practicing your subtraction basic facts. That's one of our basic facts. It's quite easy because it's a 10. What do you need to make that 10? You need 4. So if you take 10 minus 6, you're left with 4.
I'm trying to show you. 10 fingers. I get rid of 6. I have 4 left.
I wonder if you could actually see that. So what she did, if you didn't see it, you had 10 fingers. She got rid of 6 of them. Did I get rid of 6?
That's
yeah,
right.
I got rid of 6. You're left with 4, right? Okay, 12 minus 5. Again, many ways you can do this. You might draw it out, might see 10 frames, might use dice, might use a number line counting backwards. What I do again is I break that into my brain, if I'm going to do it like this, breaks it that 12 into its parts, a 10 and a 2, okay? I've got 10 and 2. I'm going to write it down here for you. So this 12 is a 10 and a 2. If I take 5 away from that 10, that's much easier for me. 10 minus 5, I got 5 left over, so 5 plus 2, I have 7. Now that all seems to me like a lot of work. Now boys and girls in my class, you've seen me demonstrate in the basic facts, math, subtraction sheet that you do, that I can do the whole sheet in 32 seconds. The reason I can do it that fast is I'm not using any of those strategies we just talked about. I'm looking at what's similar right here and also what's similar over here. And I change this in my brain to an addition question because I can do addition faster. Let's look. I'm wondering if you noticed we have 9, 8, 17. 9, 8, 17. In this row, we have 6, 4, 10. 6, 4, 10. This row, 7, 5, 12. 7, 5, 12. The same numbers. Because the trick is, for every addition question, you can change it to a subtraction question and vice versa. And in subtraction, I'm just going to go stand over here. I'm hoping Mrs. Marta can keep me in frame. Do I have to crouch down a bit, Mrs. Marta? Raise me up. Excellent. What my brain does to make this a addition question is, yes, I know I have to solve 17 minus 9, but I don't. What I do instead is I know these two numbers, if I add them together, they're going to equal that number. So my brain does 9 plus what is 17? Oh, I know 9 plus 8, so 8 goes there. In here, what two numbers added together make that number? Oh, 6 plus 4 equals 10, so I put the 4 there. In this one, 5 plus 7 equals 12. So I put the 7 there, make it up. So you can change it to addition. How we're going to practice learning about that is by checking out how closely related they are. So let's look at this. We have 8 plus 6. 8 plus 6, boys and girls, what's the answer? 8 plus 6?
14.
14. I love it. Now, how is addition related to subtraction? For every addition question, you can change the numbers around and make two subtraction questions. The big thing you have to do and have to notice that in addition, the greatest number between these three numbers, so we have a 6, an 8, and a 14. The 14 is the greatest number. In addition, that number is always the answer at the end. But in subtraction, that same greatest number is always at the front. Okay, so 14 minus one of these numbers, in this case 6, equals what? 14 minus 8 is what? And the answer is whatever number you're missing. Because 14, 6, oh, I'm left with an 8. 14 and 8, where's my 14, my 8? Oh, I'm left with a 6. So, addition, very related. And if I add these two numbers together to check, 8 plus 6, yep, that's 14. 6 plus 8, yes, that's 14. I know I got it right. Let's go to the next question. 52 plus 10, a little bit of a greater number, but pretty easy because look, we've got 10s and we got 10s. I've got 52, we're counting up by 10s. 52 plus 10 more is, Mrs. Marta?
62.
62.
Do you know how I did that?
How'd you do, Mrs. Marta?
I did 5, 10, and 1, 10. I knew that was 6 10s, and then it's just a 2 and a 0.
Perfect. Excellent. So we had 52 plus 10 is 62. We're going to take that equation and see its related math subtraction question. So remember, it's subtraction. The greatest number of these three has to be at the front. So it's 62. So 62 goes here. 62 minus 52 is, what's left over? Here's our 62, here's our 52. Oh, it's going to be a 10. What about 62 minus 10? There's our 62, there's our 10. Oh, it's going to be 52. And yes, you can still count backwards. If you're great at math already, you've had lots of practice, 62 going backwards instead of counting forwards, not going 62, 72, instead of going the other way, less, 62, 52. You can just do that trick as well.
Away 1, 10.
Exactly, exactly. So whether you use that trick or this trick here, because look, check your answer. 52 plus 10 is 62. 10 plus 52 is 62.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which order you put them in. If you add two things together, it's the same.
Exactly. As long as you understand that that greatest number always has to be here. It wouldn't make sense to say 52 minus 10 is 62. You can't just put them anywhere you want to.
You can have 52 things and take 10 away and end up with 62.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about that in your brain, that's impossible.
It's not going to work, okay? So you got to check your answers always. Let's go to our last one. 47 plus 21. Wow, okay. So let's look at the tens column. I got 4 tens and 2 tens. 4 tens plus 2 tens is 6 tens. Let's look at our ones column. 7 plus 1, oh, that's 8. So I know my answer is 68. I go over to its related math, family, and subtraction. I make sure that 68 goes first, and then I put the 21, and I put the 47. 68 minus 21 is 47. It's our missing number. 68 minus 47. Okay, there's our 68, there's our 47. Oh, our missing number is 21. And you could add these together if you wanted to. 21 plus 47 is 68. 47 plus 21 is 68. You know you're right. So by changing this to addition makes it much easier. And by understanding that addition is related to subtraction makes life a lot easier. Now we call this relationship when you have three numbers that you can make addition questions and subtraction questions. We call them math fact families. Okay, so this is addition and subtraction math fact families. And for each fact family, it makes 2 addition and 2 subtraction questions. Now you just can't put random numbers there. We'll talk about that in the next page. But I know that these 3 are a math fact family. Okay, I've got a 2, a 5, and a 7. I can make 2 addition questions and 2 subtraction questions with these answers. Now, if you were sitting in front of me, I would say, who sees an addition question I can make? And people would call out. Oh, Mrs. Marta, what do you see?
7 plus 5 is 2. Don't write it down, Mr. Marta.
Why? Oh, I wasn't even listening to what she was saying.
7 plus 5 is 2.
So, boys and girls, think about that. I'm not going to write it down. I'm glad I wasn't even paying attention to what she was saying, but now I am. 7 plus 5. If you have 7 and you add 5 more, can you end up with 2? No. So you just can't put them in any order. Try again, Mrs. Marta. This time I'm listening.
Okay, so I have to remember that my biggest number goes in the answer in addition. So
Correct.
Out of those 3, that's the 7. So I'm going to put the 7 in my answer. Can you do that first?
Sure thing. So let's put the 7 here.
7, and then the equals in front of it. And then I'm just left with 2 numbers, so I just go 2 plus 5.
There we go. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Now we want the other addition question. And all you have to do, boys and girls, is switch those 2 around. So Mrs. Marta did 2 plus 5 equals 7. Your next one should be 5 plus 2 equals 7. Now we need the 2 subtraction questions. And what's the most important thing to remember? Where does that 7 go in a subtraction question? At the end, in the middle, or at the front? I'm hoping you say it goes first, because addition and subtraction are opposites that way. Our 7s are going to be here for the subtraction questions. So in addition, the greatest number is always the answer. And in subtraction, in a fact family, the greatest number is always the first digit you use. So we can take any one we want. 7 minus, which one do you want, Mrs. Marta?
2.
7 minus 2. What's left over of our 3 numbers? It's 5. That leaves 7 minus 5. What's left over of our 3 numbers? The 2. So from these 3 numbers in the plus or addition and subtraction math family, we can make 2 addition and 2 subtraction questions. We're going to switch this paper and go on to some more practice.
Okay, So we flipped pages and we flipped teachers. Mr. Marta has moved over there so he can shout out the answers, and I'm going to do the teaching for this part. So what we're doing on this page is we're making the addition and subtraction math fact families. And for short, sometimes I just call them fact families. So I look at my first three numbers. I have 9, 4, and 5. I know a mistake that people make when they start doing this is they just start going in order. 9 plus 4 is 5. That's impossible. If you start with 9, let's imagine you have 9 Smarties, and you add 4 more Smarties, it's impossible to only have 5 Smarties. So when we do addition, we remember that the big number, can you still see me, Mr. Marta?
Yes, ma'am.
The big number is at the end. So I'm going to make that.
You drop by the arrows, Miss Marty, you have nice 4 lines.
Mr. Marta has an idea in mind he wants me to do. I'm just going to do it to make him happy.
I wrote this out so I know what we had planned.
What we had planned. All right. We know it's going to equal 9 because that's the biggest number. Then I just take my other two numbers, it doesn't matter what order, and I do 4 plus 5 equals 9. Now, to do my other addition question, I know it's also going to equal 9. And all I have to do is switch these two numbers. So I just go 5 plus 4. Now, I'm imagining I'm doing my subtraction. I can't start with 5, take 4 away, and have 9 left. I only have 1 left. I have to remember when I do subtraction, the biggest number goes at the beginning. So I have 9, take away, and then I just put the other two numbers in. Start my next one with the 9. All I have to do is switch these two numbers. So this is my fact family for 9, 4, and 5. I could also call it my fact family for 4, 5, and 9, or 5, 9, and 4. It doesn't matter what order those are in, but it matters over here.
And look how neat that is spaced on your paper.
Oh, I'm so glad I wrote it over here instead of over here. All right, let's look at the next one. The next one has 7, 8, and 15. Now I want you to think in your head, when I do the addition question, which one is going to be the answer? Do you know what I said? Think in your head. Just call it out. You're at home. It's all right. Call it out. It's the
15.
It's the biggest number, which is 15. So I'm going to put it right here. And I'm just going to take the other two numbers and make my addition question. Now I know I have to make 2 addition questions. So I have another one that equals 15, and I just switch those two numbers. Now I have to do 2 subtraction questions. I can even do this to prepare myself. So when I do my subtraction, I start with the biggest number, which in this case is 15. So I have 15. I just put my other two numbers in. Start with 15, and I just switch my two numbers. Now, those ones I can do in my head, right? So I pretty much know that. And the goal here is that eventually you will just know the answers to these, kind of like you do with the addition. So that if I said 17 take away 7, boom, you would say 10. Okay, then I get to a big number like this. I don't necessarily in my head know what that adds up to, but I know I have to look for the biggest number out of 22, 10, and 32. And I know the biggest number is 32. So I'm going to put that in my answer. Then the rest is easy. I just slot my other two numbers in. So now I know that 10 and 22 is 32. I need to do my other addition question. All I have to do is switch these two numbers. Good. Now, I'm going to do my subtraction. Tell me what I need to remember when I do subtraction. I hear you from home saying, put the biggest number first.
The greatest number.
The greatest number. The greatest number is 32. All right. Then all I have to do is put my other two numbers in. 32 take away 22 is 10. Now I start my other subtraction question, and I just switch these two numbers. 32 take away 10 is 22. So I've built my fact family. Now I'm going on to a really hard one. This is a big one.
Big number.
I have 50, 150, and 100. And I have to think I'm going to start with my addition. I like to always start with addition. I don't think you have to, though. What is my biggest number?
50,150,100.
Incorrect. Those are 3 different numbers, Mr. Marta.
Oh, they're 3 different numbers. Oh.
Yes. So my biggest number out of those 3 numbers is 150. So I'm going to put that in my answer. 150. And then I'm just going to put my other 2 numbers in there. 50 plus 100 equals 150. Going to do my other addition question. Switch my 2 numbers. Now, when I do my subtraction, what do I need to remember? The greatest number goes
At the front.
first. 150 minus something equals something. I've used 150. I need to put in my 50 and my 100. Now I try it with this one. All I have to do is switch these 2. So in my fact family, I have 4 questions, 2 addition questions and 2 subtraction questions. In my addition questions, the biggest number's at the end. In my subtraction questions, the biggest number's at the beginning. Now it says how to make your own. This means someone hasn't given you these numbers. You need to make your own. And Mr. Marta is desperately behind the camera going like this because he really wants to do this part.
I really like math.
He really wants to do this part. So come on over, Mr. Marta.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. So, how to make your own. It says pick 2 numbers and solve for answer. What that means is this, and you have to know how to do this. We don't have to, but it's advisable because when I turn this page on the on your own questions, there's 4 questions you get to do on your own. And the challenge question is this. You get to make up any one you want on your own. But you have to know how to do that because you can't just put down 3 random numbers. You can't say 7, 27, and 19. Just because you put 3 numbers down is not going to make the right questions. So you have to make sure that the 2 numbers added together equals the other number. So you can pick any random numbers you want to, but start with 2. So let's go with... Sure. Hit it.
64.
64. What's your next number going to be, Mrs. Marta?
14.
14. Okay, now before I write the 3rd number for the fact family and do the fact families, I have to make sure that I know what the answer is for at least one of the additions.
Yeah, I just can't pick a random number.
No. So what I like to do is I love expanded form, 64, 14. I just double check with my expanded form that I know what the answer is for the 3rd number for this. So let's start. We're in the tens column. There is 1 0 and a 10. How many tens do we have? We have 6 tens and 1 10 is 7 tens or 70. You could have done 60 plus 10 is 70. Either way, you're correct. Then the ones column. 4 plus 4 is 8. We add them together. In this column we have 8. In this column we have 7. So we have 78. So now we know our 3rd number in the fact family is 78, and we've checked it here. If I just randomly put a number there or guessed and it was incorrect, it would make the whole fact family incorrect. Once you have those 3 numbers and you've double checked that the answer is correct, you can do your fact families. So let's start off. Mrs. Marta, yell out your first fact family.
Well, I want to start with the answer.
Oh, she likes the answer a lot. Okay,
Because I'm doing addition. So I look for my greatest number, which is 78, and I'm going to put that at the end.
78 goes at the end. Okay.
Then I can just slot the other 2 numbers in.
Which one do you want to slot in, Mrs. Marta?
64 plus 14.
64 plus 14. And now we simply switch those numbers around. We can put our plus there if we want to. Switch them around. 14 plus 64 is going to be your answer of 78. So now you take those same 3 numbers and do the subtraction questions. And remember, the greatest number in this case is 78, because 78 is greater than 14, and 78 is greater than 64. So 78 is going to be our what number in the subtraction question? First number. So we have 78 is going here, 78 is going here. Which one do you want to minus first, Mrs. Marta?
64.
64. So she's done 78 minus 64. 78, 64. Oh, this is our 14. Now we switch these 2 around. 78 minus 14. 78 minus 14. Oh, I'm missing there's our 78. There's our 14. I'm missing the 64. So our fact family is all correct. Now, let's turn the page and look at the on your own questions. So for on your own today, what Mrs. Martin and I would like you to do for this lesson is you have to do A, B, C, and D. This is your challenge question. You decide if you want to do that. Okay?
You could make that as big
as you want. Big, as great as you want to. Yep, that's your challenge question. Do what you will. You can do several challenge questions if you want to. Start off small, get to larger and greater numbers, whatever you like. Your first fact family, there's a 4, 5, and 9. You got to make 2 addition, 2 subtraction that are related. Same thing with 6, 13, and 7, 70, 50, and 20, 34, 42, and 76. Notice the numbers are in different orders. They're all over the place. So you got to find your greatest number. Make sure in the addition questions, it's the answer. And that same greatest number in your subtraction questions, that's the one you start with. So you make your 2 addition and 2 subtraction for each of these questions. Then make your challenge question. Now, do what I did. Choose 2 numbers, whatever they're going to be. Then do some expanded form or whatever technique you want to use to solve for those 2. That number plus that number equals what? When you get that what, that's your third number. And then you have your 3 numbers and do your 2 addition and 2 subtraction questions. Simple as that, boys and girls. Stay tuned for Rexy coming next.
All right, you made it to the end. Here comes Rexy's joke. But before that, have you ever wondered when Mr. Martin and I are both in the picture, who's filming us? There's only one other person here. His name has 4 letters. It's Rexy. He balances the camera on his head on that box, sometimes on a giant pile of books, and he does the filming for us. So today's joke for Rexy was sent in by Asher. Let me say it again. Why do museums have old dinosaur bones? Because they can't afford new ones. Rexy, you're always laughing so hard. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the answers.